Good afternoon, everyone. We'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your day to come and listen to our plan. Special thanks to Mr. Matt Ford and Power Practical in allowing us to take their product, the PowerPot 5, and developing a sales plan around it and implementing it to Peru to help those in need. My name is Steven Burciaga.
Ana Tinajero.
Diane Scout. Trisha Wen.
And we are Collision Consulting. Our plan, the Power for Peru, or
Poder para el Perú.
focuses on business-to-business sales to minimize financial risk and maximize the market penetration. We're going to take you on a journey that Power Practical will take when implementing their pot into Peru, specifically in areas of the BOP that are prone to natural disasters. Did you know that between December of 2012 and March of 2013, over 900 natural disasters happened in Peru alone? That's all in 4 months. So how are we going to take you on this journey? We're first going to talk to you about the Peruvian situation. After that, we're going to talk to you about how Power Practical and their product, the PowerPot 5, can help people in need and in instability from these natural disasters, like our friend Pacha. Then we will tell you about how much it's going to cost Power Practical in order to get it to Pacha. And we're going to wrap everything up with our recommendations.
So the first steps in understanding how Power Practical will make a difference within Peru is understanding the bottom of the pyramid and poverty within Peru. From 2006 to 2012, poverty had been cut from 42% to 26%, primarily because the voluntary mandate for corporations and foreign direct investment within the community. Now, this creates a huge opportunity for Peru for companies to invest into Peru and make a true impact within these communities.
This brings us to our target market, Cusco. Cusco is one of 25 regions in the country. It's located in the southeast of the country, and it is mostly composed of mountainous regions with a small Amazonian area in the south. So why Peru? Remember the 900 natural disasters that Steven told you about? Well, 90% of those disasters occurred in the greater Cusco region. They affected over 180,000 people. That is almost equivalent to the population size of Salt Lake City. The poverty institution in charge of social development has prepared a poverty map that places Cusco as the #1 poorest region in the entire country. Their poverty rate is still as high as 58%. This is mainly because more than half of its population lives in rural areas. 70% of those rural areas lack access to a public water connection within their homes. And what is shocking is that from those 70%, only 40% have access to potable water. The Cusco region also experiences only 2 seasons throughout the year, which is the rainy season from November to March and the dry season from April to October. This is indirectly correlated to the fact that Cusco has historically been affected the most by natural disasters. This creates an opportunity for Power Practical to introduce the PowerPot and help communities in the Cusco region to better their lives and be better prepared in case of emergencies.
So now you may be wondering, how are people impacting natural disasters? How are they working around this? Now, traditionally, international entities focus on disaster relief. However, there's a new idea approaching that's being accepted, and that's emergency preparedness, providing institutions, services, and goods for people within these natural disaster-prone communities to provide them with a sense of security and stability before, during, and after a natural disaster.
So let me tell you about the story of Pacha. Pacha is an individual who lives in a tiny village of Laraz, Peru. He lives there with his 2 daughters, who are 5 and 8, Blanca and Desi. They live in a house that is crumbling, and their roof is literally collapsing from the rainstorms that took place 6 months ago. And they live on dirt floors, so every time it rains, they're forced to sleep on wet grounds. So what this does is his daughters are suffering constantly from the flu, cough, and colds. And Pacha, like many others in his regions, can't afford to pay for travel expenses that have to do with these medical costs. So they have to rely heavily on traditional proven remedies such as eucalyptus and mint tea, which is known for suppressing coughs, which he brews for his daughters nightly.
So Pacha and his community have proven to be hard workers. They have built a small hotel to attract tourists to the hot springs that surround the Lares area. Pacha and his community have also proven to have the desire to aspire to middle-class living standards. Yet, they still have the need for more daylight hours, for sustainable sources of energy, for time and cost-effective ways to charge their mobile devices, and have access to potable water in order to brew these remedies to help their kids overcome sickness. How practical through the PowerPot 5 can help Pacha and his community meet these necessities. Power Practical is a corporation. It's a social responsible corporation that was founded with the vision of creating, of providing energy to the end user when they find themselves in situation of power scarcity. They have a mindset of making their products into innovative tools to create solutions. The PowerPoint 5 has the opportunity to give a sense of empowerment and comfort to the end user, such as Pacha and his community.
So how can Power Practical help the community of Lares, Peru? Well, they can do that through introducing the PowerPot 5, which is a multifunctional pot that's also thermoelectric. And with this pot, you can use it to charge your USB devices while boiling water, as well as creating home remedies such as Pacha does for his daughters. The lid can be used as a cooking skillet, or you can turn it around and create a survival kit or storage kit, which inside you can actually place matches, band-aids, or other emergency items. So in Pacha's situation, he can actually put dry tea leaves in here and keep them dry during rainy seasons. And the PowerPot, the battery pack bundle also comes with the charging cable, comes with the USB that lets you charge up to 3 devices at the same time, the LED light, as well as the battery pack. It also comes with a bag, which I don't see here, but the bag is also useful in emergency situations when you just need grab-and-go access.
Now, the truly remarkable thing about the PowerPot is the features that she described: accessible energy, potable water, and a sustainable light source. Now, this creates a sense of security and stabilizing force for communities within Peru. Now, the truly unique thing about the PowerPort is its heat source. By having a heat source, it separates it from its competition, which is dependent on solar energies traditionally. And it also provides an easy tool to allow it to be adapted within the Peruvian community.
So what is our go-to market strategy? What does Power Practical have to do in order to implement this plan? Well, when going into a new market, financial risk can weigh heavy on the company's shoulders. This is why we, Collision Consulting, have worked to minimize Power Practical's initial outlay and maximize their sales potential through a business-to-business model. Power Practical will hire independent sales representatives, or ISRs, on a 5% commission rate, who will sell to social responsible companies. These ISRs will focus on 5 industries: the mining, agricultural, energy, industrial, and the government. Now, it's important to understand that in recent history, the government has been pushing the mining industry to become more socially responsible. As a matter of fact, mining companies are now mandated to give a certain portion of their profit to help out the communities around them. through these existing social responsible framework, such as NGOs that are partnered with these companies, Power Practical will be able to get their product to the end user. So, where are we today? I think we, Collision Consulting, can agree with all of y'all that the people who need this product the most are the ones at the base of the pyramid who live in the natural disaster prone areas. We can all agree as well that these are the people who have the least power to buy this product. And living on less than $2 a day, it's going to be very hard for the end user to purchase something like this. That's why we believe in our plan. Power Practical isn't going to market towards these end users, but more so the companies and the government who are responsible for the well-being of these people. We have been fortunate to have a contact who got us in contact with Luis Picon of El Grupo Picon. Now, Luis is the president of the Huánuco region, which is equivalent to a U.S. governor today, and here in the States. We have talked to Luis. He has expressed his interest. Now, it's important to understand that Luis has a very political motivation for helping his people, especially with disaster relief. Luis's brothers, Juan and Isaac, are also a part of Grupo Picon. Grupo Picon is not only in the government, but also in the industrial, agriculture, mining, as well as the general distribution industries. The very same industries that are being mandated today in order to help the people around them. We have received email of interest from their U.S. representative and have been promised a letter of interest from Luis Picon himself coming in the next couple of days.
Now, this leaves the question, how are we physically going to take the PowerPod from its manufacturer to the people of Peru? Now, we're partnered with 2 different companies to physically take this to the Peruvians. First, we are working with Logistics International with a quote and a partnership to take it from the Hong Kong port to the Callao port. And from there, we are working with a company that has given us a standard quote to take it from the port of Callao to Cusco.
So what is this going to cost to Power Practical? We suggest that Power Practical sells each unit for $99, just under $100. Why? Because we have conversed with people who have over 30 years of experience in selling into the Peruvian market, and they believe this is the right price for Power Practical to go into. $60 of that $99 is going to be in the cost of goods sold, which includes the manufacturing, the logistics, as well as the duties and the taxes when going into Peru. Power Practical will have a $39 gross profit for each unit sold. We are asking Power Practical to invest $703 plus their time into starting this project. Now you may be wondering, why is it so low? Because the way we set up our plan, if there's no sale, Power Practical does not put in an order to the manufacturing company. This will reduce cost. The great thing about doing business to business is when you sell it, when they make the sale, a lot of businesses don't want it immediately like the end user does. They may want 30 to 45 days in order to set everything up and get everything prepared. In this $703, $379 is going to be going towards recruiting of these ISRs. They will receive 400 resumes of independent sales agents who fit their qualifications, as well as the other half of it will be going towards a CRM system that we suggest Power Practical to use in order to keep in touch and keep up to date with everything that ISRs are doing. So what's our break-even analysis? With a $703 initial outlay, Power Practical will see profit just after their 21st pot is sold. Our conservative forecast. Let's say Power Practical can only find 1 independent sales rep, and that 1 independent sales rep can only hit half of their quota of 2,000. So they only sell 1,000 pots. That's about 1 sale for the year. Power Practical will have a revenue of $99,000. Now, with the margins being 22.58%, Power Practical will have just over $22,000 in net income. This is also including, well, this is deducting the cost of goods sold, as well as the 5% commission for the sales representative, and the 30% of that Peru puts on corporate taxes.
So what is the social return on investment? Well, SROI is focused on saving Peruvians time. We know that Pacha spends at least 12 hours a week going to the market, traveling, running errands, as well as charging devices. So that equates to 624 hours a year that he spent in the markets doing all these things or running errands. So instead, if he had the Power Practical at home, where he can charge his devices at home and stay home with his kids, he can use those 624 hours to do things such as find work and increase his income to pay for the travel expenses that will cost for him to go take his daughters to see a doctor, which will create a healthier, happier family for Pacha and his daughters.
Collision Consulting we are confident in the success of our plan. Therefore, Power Practical will be faced with the profits made from the Poder para el Perú project. Therefore, we have made some recommendations for you to take into consideration. First, we would like for you to seek advice from an international tax attorney to help you minimize the tax burden from this project. This might even mean going into operations within Peru. Also, Power Practical has the opportunity to unlock gateways through innovation through USB technology integration from the emerging market of medical USB devices, such as
Medical alert bracelets.
and heart rate monitors.
And this will ultimately help save lives, these devices. Life is too short to focus on problems, so let us switch gears and focus on solutions instead. There are over 94,000 households in Cusco, Peru, each consisting of 5 to 8 people who are still today struggling with natural disasters and their health. Through our research and dedication in the last 13 weeks in creating a sales plan, we are confident that our sales plan will be the model template to help improve the lives of Peruvians in untapped global markets. By providing these families facing crises with the Power Pot 5, we're essentially helping Peruvians, the communities, as well as future generations, like a domino effect. Through the Power Pot 5 can actually be their survival kit, which will actually provide them access to potable water, energy, and light, the very elements that we take for granted. So today, we are asking Power Practical to partner with Collision Consulting and our group. But why our group? Because our group is the group that's going to mitigate risks, as well as maximize market penetration, as well as helping Peruvians rise out of poverty. And it only takes one person to make a huge impact. So imagine what an entire company such as Power Practical can have on a community and future generations of Peru. My name is Trisha Wynn.
Diane Stout.
Steven Burciaga.
Ana Tinajero.
And we'd like to thank everyone for taking their time out today to listen to our sales presentation. Thank you, Susanna, for everything you've done to help us create and mold our sales plan. And now we're open for discussion.
Are you aware of anybody else that's been successful with a straight commission sales approach in Peru? Is this a common way to do compensation there?
Yes, when speaking with the individual who has over 30 years experience, they did a lot of independent sales reps that worked strictly on commission.
Okay.
That way the company did the same thing. That way the company would minimize their financial risk when going into this new market.
So, but this market is accustomed to that model?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So one thing that you had mentioned earlier is that they can turn the lid upside down to keep it on the pot to keep it dry. Does it snap in there? Or?
It doesn't snap in there, but it was just our recommendation that we use. I've seen other pots that are similar to this that actually use it as a storage pot.
Okay.
And when it comes to when the bag that is not here, it actually,
Closes at the
yeah,
top.
it closes out for it to actually be, it's not completely sealed, but it holds in it.
And
Okay.
it help keep everything dry as well, even though it doesn't snap together.
Okay.
What's the CRM system that you are suggesting to use, and who exactly will be using it? So the inside sales
Yeah.
rep, how will they be
Yes,
accessing
I'm
it?
sorry to explain that in more detail. So we suggest using Podio, which is a CRM system. You probably know about Podio. So we're going to have, we project for Power Practical to have 2 inside or independent sales reps the first year. So Power Practical will have 3 accounts, 1 for Power Practical and 1 for each sales rep. So at $9 a month for the membership, Power Practical will be paying $27 per month total. Yes.
Who's going to train the salespeople?
Part of the qualifications for the sales rep, and as stated in the proposal, is that they have at least 3 years sales experience. They also have to be bilingual, but more importantly, they have to have a successful track record and have a current list of references so Power Practical can improve their validity.
That's a lot to ask. Do you think that's sustainable in the long haul?
Yes.
And still to that question,
Who trains them?
Train on the product?
The product,
and the
Power
con-
Practical. That's why we're asking for $703 and their time.
Okay, so Power Practical is going from US to Peru to train them.
No, over video.
Video.
Yes,
Just
ma'am.
like they did with us, they can have, a few sessions of, interaction and for them to be familiar with the product.
And we also thought about Power Practical incorporating modules that they can do online to train them on the PowerPod and how to sell the PowerPod as well. Yes.
Along the lines of the ISRs, who is going to coordinate and manage them?
The ISRs, they are independent sales reps, so they will be selling other products. That's just how it goes. However, they will be keeping Power Practical up to date with the CRM system. That is part of their duties when signing the agreement with Power Practical.
So Power Practical manages the ISRs.
Yes.
Are they going to have somebody based in Peru to do that, or is it all virtual through the U.S.?
Well, that's actually one of our recommendations for the long run, to maybe for Power Practical to set operations within Peru.
Okay. And you threw out a statistic, they're going to have 400 resumes
Correct.
generated to Power Practical to look at for potential ISRs.
Yes.
Where is that statistic coming
So,
from?
Time to Hire is a recruiting company that you pay $379, and it is for their 400 plan. And the 400 plan is to hire from 1 to 3 independent sales reps, and they will give you 400 resumes that fit the criteria that you're looking for.
And I'd assume this is in Peru?
Yes.
That was in your budget?
Yes.
I'm just curious, why'd you settle on 5% from the commission?
Commission is always negotiable. Power Practical can make the final decision. However, when speaking with the individual who has the 30 years of work in Peru, he said that 5% is usually where they start at, and then when speaking with the ISR, or depending on what they can work out, it will be negotiated. So this is where they start, and if the ISR, let's say, is, wants to, or if they can able to go lower, then they'll go lower. If the ISR is a hot shot, then they can go a little higher.
And how do you plan on protecting these power pots? For example, what if I come in as a contractor, sign up, I get approved, you give me the power pot, I disappear?
Well, the thing is, it's not going to the sales agent. They are selling to the corporations,
Right.
to the social responsible corporations. So through the research that we've made, these corporations, due to the fact that they are from the government, they're making them be social responsible. They already have frameworks with NGOs. There's already a partnership there. And in case there is not, we already offered in our proposal a list of possible NGOs for the corporation to choose from and have that. So the sales agent will really not touch the power pots. They will be delivered to the corporation or the NGO.
So essentially, the sale has to be made without the customer ever viewing the product and getting their hands on it?
The sales rep will get one power pot. We are asking the sales rep to buy the power pot. If not, then maybe we can work something out.
Because it would be a lot easier for a sales rep to actually demonstrate the product for them to be able to sell it. Because that is actually essentially what sells it.
So no samples will be given out if they wanna go to the
We
mining
didn't-
community, or if somebody else wants to see it.
Right, we didn't put that in our budget, however, that is a recommendation that our Yes.
So just kind of assuming that the sales rep is going to be using Salesforce, like he's going to have a laptop, he's going to have access to internet, he's going to have a mobile phone
Right.
to be able to call these people, he's going to have transportation,
Right, all that is in the,
Or
we have a
she.
checklist.
or she. I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Shame on you, Rob.
In one of our appendixes, we have a checklist for Power Practical to go down and that qualifies the
salesperson.
The salesperson, the sales and yeah. So those are all qualifications that are in our plan.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So they have to bring that with them?
Come again?
So they would have to have that already coming to you as a new employee?
Well, that's for, that checklist is for Power Practical to take into consideration when hiring those sales agents from the 400 resumes that they will be getting from time to hire.
So that means you expect them to have it before you hire them, or it's in your
No.
budget to provide them?
So we will ask them for those certain things. Let's say, no, like one of them is, do they
Who's paying for it?
paying for?
The laptop and the cell phone and all that stuff?
No.
Well,
Oh,
they're-
okay.
well, we're saying that the requirements for the salesperson would be that they already have access to internet and transportation, as well as being bilingual, so they can communicate with the Power Practical.
So they provide their own laptop?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
What's the plan for break fix? So I know it's a pretty simplistic tool, but things can be stolen. I mean, things break, right? Nothing
Right.
perfect.
So initially, we wanted to lower the initial startup. However, we do have a recommendation that in the future, for every sale, Power Practical also finds a storage unit where they take 1% more of those pots and implement it or place it there just in case there's a malfunction or anything else.
I also recommended that Power Practical, I know some companies here do it, but like, send them shipping labels for returns to make it easier for the customers. It could be mailed, faxed, emailed, these shipping labels, if they have access to somewhere to get the shipping labels or internet access.
Is that the end users that will be shipping it back, or the
Or
corporations?
the corporations,
Oh, okay.
sorry.
Do you envision the ISRs being based out of Cusco or Lima?
In our pilot program, the territories that the ISRs are given are within Cusco. So that's for, the pilot program that we would like. But essentially, they will be,
All over the Peru.
How?
Yes.
So you guys mentioned you have this really important contact who has influence or other contacts in those 4 different areas mentioned on this slide. Do you guys have any specific examples of what those socially conscious organizations are within those 4 different areas? Like, can you give any examples to us?
I'm sorry, can you explain a little more about the examples?
Yeah, so like providing examples of some of the contacts or other organizations that you'll be working with that work in an area like disaster relief, for
Right.
example, that you would be selling this product to.
So you're talking about within Grupo Picon, within
Yeah.
the industrial industry? They own companies in the industrial industry, the energy industry, agricultural industry, and the mining industry. I mean, it's a huge group. We were very fortunate to come across this.
So do you envision mostly working with those companies under that group? Or also branching out of that, or initially just working with them?
Right, branching out. This is great because this proves our concept that companies are very interested in this product. However, we're not just going to confine ourselves to the Grupo Picon.
that's like our first sale to
Right.
prove that this works.
And with this money that the profit that they make, they can reinvest it back into Peru to ramp things up a little more quickly.
I have a question regarding your advisor that you're speaking of that has 30 years of experience.
Yes.
30 years of experience in what? I apologize if I missed that.
No, it's okay. It's mining, oil and gas, everything.
And so does he have, when you say 100% commission, those are the types of industries that are 100% commission that he